sounds like an answer I would give.
Yeah.
I know nothing about sports.
Listen, Bree's been making fun of me all day for my shirt, and can I just say that one girl said orange is her favorite color,
There we go.
I never said it was a bad color. He has a loud shirt. It's loud. He moves and it's like, anyway.
All right, well, I have a story today for local news, and it is regarding a local man that is being charged with animal abuse. He's on trial this week. Derby Urquhart, as he is known as his nickname Skip, actually had over 200 dogs in his kennel, which is the Almost Heaven kennel outside Allentown. And so there were several investigations into this, and they found that the dogs were living in their own waste with matted fur and skin ailments and lacking access to food and water. So, but they have taken those dogs out of this dangerous environment, and they're up for adoption now. And Urquhart, who is 42, is charged with 8 counts of animal cruelty and 5 counts of running a kennel without a license. Since he did not have a license, he was only permitted to have 25 dogs in his kennel, and he over 200 is obviously far over that limit. So, beginning on October 1st, the raids began into his Almost Heaven kennel and found that 189 dogs were living in unsanitary conditions, and he was tried at that time. And again, another investigation was done on June 2009, and the State and Humane Society of the United States raided the kennel and found that 216 dogs were present. So they shut down the operation, and so they're trying to prepare these dogs for adoption. They're not used to attention from humans. They're not used to walking on leashes, so they're really recovering from this ordeal. According to, Skip, he says that the charges boiled down to just a handful of dogs that were in poor condition, and he had just taken them in a few weeks before, so he hadn't had a chance to, clean them up. But there were 2 separate investigations, so the trial will be ongoing this week. Any thoughts on that?
That's terrible.
Was that dogs from the kennel?
Yes, and they're all cleaned up and everything.
Cleaned up, right,
yep,
right.
And ready for adoption, and so hopefully they'll be into homes and.
So he was saying that the accusations against him were only based on a few dogs, not really on all 216, so people are blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, so that's what it sounds like. But
that's right near
they're
my house.
investigating it. Yeah, that's.
There was a woman around here, like really local, not too long ago, with the pierced cats. Did anybody else?
What?
Anybody else
What?
remember that? She was like piercing.
No.
She took kittens in. She took kittens in and she raised them, and she like pierced their ears and their tails or cut their tails or tied their tail. I don't know. She did something
Why?
Oh my God.
nonsensical with them.
That's something you do to yourself, not to animals.
Yeah. Oh, and then she was selling them on eBay as I forget what they were calling them.
But
Wow, I just hate when people abuse animals. It's just so sad.
Well, let's try to bring the mood up.
Yeah.
Although we're actually going to be talking about a person who. Anyway, everyone remembers last summer, Michael Jackson passed away. We lost one of the greatest pop stars of all time. But we obviously haven't lost his influence in the music industry, and apparently we're not going to lose his influence on the New York Broadway stages either. From an article on TMZ.com, they were quoted as saying Michael Jackson is coming to Broadway whether his estate likes it or not. At least that's what the most famous Broadway family says. That most famous Broadway family is the Nederlander Presentations, or the Nederlander production team. And from their official website, there's this little blurb about them that says it was founded by David T. Nederlander. The Nederlander organization began in 1912 with the purchase of a 99-year lease on the old Detroit Opera House. Now into their third generation of theater development, ownership, management, and production, the Nederlander organization is one of the largest, most experienced operators of live theater. So they have filed, this is the Nederlander Presentations, has filed a creditor's claim but aren't asking for any money, and they want to contract Michael Jackson songs for a musical stage play featuring music from Thriller and Off the Wall. The production hit a major road bump last year when John Landis sued Michael Jackson, claiming MJ couldn't make a deal for musical without his sign-off. Landis directed Thriller, and that suit is still pending. So how does everybody feel about this? We talked about a musical a few weeks ago. I don't remember if Sarah was here, but they're making the remake to Phantom of the Opera, and now we have Michael Jackson on stage.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's
don't-
awesome
I
too.
don't-
This idea, I'm all
Yeah.
for.
And I don't think anybody would let this be a terrible idea.
No.
Like, I think
True.
it would actually be quite amazing. I don't think anyone let it be something mediocre happening, you know. People are going to make it really, really good.
No,
Yeah.
I think it'd be
I love
very
that.
worthwhile going to see.
Definitely.
And you know what else? This is just a side shoot before I move into the next thing that I want to talk about. But starting in London, either next year or the year after, they're trying to get it off the ground. A Spice Girls musical
Wow.
featuring all 5 Spice Girls.
Okay.
Oh, my.
The Spice Girls were the only thing I was actually obsessed with. But that's all. That was my 2 cents.
But we're going to take it over to the Finding Faith segment. We'll be back with you in a little bit.
Imagine if I offered you a full scholarship to college, all the way up until your doctorate. What do I want in return? Absolutely nothing. Would you accept this offer, or would you reject it? Hi, I'm Joshua Walker, and on today's edition of Finding Faith, we're going to see how this analogy fits into the Easter message. So let's take a look at 3 important truths that are all wrapped up in the Easter message. First of all, love. God loved the world, us, His creation, so much that He sent His own Son to die in our place. Why did we need a substitution? Because He didn't want us to die ourselves, and because, well, we're not bad people, but we all do bad things. Face it, let's admit it, we do. But in order to be with God, you have to be perfect. And the only way to be perfect is to have a perfect sacrifice in your place, to have someone who is perfect to die for you. That was the payment necessary for us to spend eternity with God. So He loved the world so much that He sent His own Son to die for us. Let's look at another message, peace. Jesus offered to give us peace, not as the world gives, but as only He can give. See, for the world's peace, you've got to keep coming back and back and back again and again and again to find something that gives you peace, whether it's, whether it's getting drunk, sex, pornography. It could be whatever you like. But you've got to keep coming back again and again and again for it. But Jesus offered to give us a lasting peace whenever and wherever we need it. See, peace is not the absence of trials or storms. It's the presence of God in those trials and storms. Knowing that He's there with us gives us that sense of peace that we can make it through anything. Well, let's look at the third and final truth in this Easter message. And one of the most important is forgiveness. Like I said, we're not bad people. We just all do bad things. But Jesus died in our place so that these things could be erased from our record. See, whether you believe God or not, you're going to be held accountable for everything that you do here on this earth, good and bad. See, because Jesus died, our past, present, and future sins, or the bad things that we do, have been forgiven, erased, remembered no more by God. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Well, all this has been offered to you and to me, but we have the ability to accept it or reject it. Well, going back to that scholarship analogy, if you reject it, a lot of people are going to wonder why. Well, it's the same thing with this. Why reject such a beautiful, such a clean, why reject something so awesome like eternal life? Well, let me tell you what happens. If you accept this offer, you gain eternal life. When you die, you will be with God forever. And you will enjoy life for all eternity. But if you reject it, well, you face the consequences of being separated from God forever. It's a hard truth, but it's up to you whether you want to accept it or reject it. I leave you with this, Romans 10:9. If you make God first in your life, He will never, ever, ever let you down.